What's going on, guys? It's Monday, October 6th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network presented by FanDuel. And we have a great show for you today over the next hour. We're going to have a lot of fun guests on. I'm your host here, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer, Mike, behind the boards. Like I mentioned, great guests. Starting off with Corbie Craig. You know him. You love him. He's here every single Monday in that first time slot, batting leadoff. Last week, we talked some college football playoffs, did a little bit of predictions. We're going to see how that measured out with this week 6 that was. I mean, tons of upsets this week in college football. Great sports weekend. After that, Fluff's going to come on. He's going to talk some NFL futures. His Steelers futures, we made fun of them like 4 weeks ago. Even his Cowboy futures, they're looking good. They're good. They were good numbers. He liked it, played it. And, hopefully you played it as well, because I think like 25-1 for Cowboys to win the division. I think 32-1 for the Steelers to win the AFC. Listen, they look a lot better now than they did before. And then finally closing out the show, of course, Judah is going to come on. He's going to build an SGP for us, break down the Monday Night Football game, talk us through. And I'm going to force him to take some touchdown bets because that's what I love to do here on this show. All right, what a weekend it was in sports. What a freaking weekend. Curious to hear what you guys thought of this weekend. There's tons of great moments. We had Andrew Gombas on last week to break down some of the UFC fights. If you were watching that card, that Yuri fight, that was incredible. And then the Alex Pereira. What an absolute dog. Comes out, underdog, knocks out Ankalaev. What was it, 2 minutes, a minute into the first round? I know I said I liked the decision, Ankalaev by decision. Kind of got cooked on that, but happy to see Pereira in his element and just walking people down and smoking. Absolutely smoking Ankalaev there. It's good to see. Pereira is always a fun fighter to watch. Saturday as well. Other stuff that happened, massive upsets like we talked about. Penn State, they lost to UCLA. 0-4. What are we doing? And then Texas. The number 1 and 2 team pre-flop on this college football season is now out of the top 25 AP poll. I know the top 25 doesn't matter, but these were 2 of the highest teams. Arch Manning looks terrible.
He stinks.
They got steamrolled by the Gators, and I mean, it's just tough to see because that Gators team didn't look good at all. And then, of course, obviously, if you were watching sports on Sunday, man, those survivor entries, I feel bad for you if you had the Cardinals. I was tilted on the Rams. Now it feels a little bit better now because the Cardinals, the Cardinals, they lost. And most of these pools are less than a third of the entries are still in. Circa is at like 4,400 people, 4,600 people. I know BetOnline Survivor Pool has like, I think there's over 20,000 people out. It's interesting. Yeah, curious to see what you guys in the chat had.
Doesn't Grand Easimo or whatever have like 15 entrants left or something like that?
Yeah, there was only 50 though to begin with.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyways, it's John, you had Rams and cards. That's tough. It's always tough. But it is what it is. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Reminder, do us a favor before we get started on the show. Smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. And if we haven't earned your subscribe just yet, if you're really new, this is your first time watching, stick around to the end of the show. And if you like it, then do us a favor. Smash that subscribe button. All right. Before we bring on Corbie, just quickly, we talked about Sunday. Just want to remind everyone, our newsletter goes out every Monday morning. And it's the best way to stay on top of things if you love the NFL. If you're looking for just some reactions to the given week, Suma has those. If you're looking for injury updates, which I think is the biggest value add there in this newsletter, it's very, very hard to sit through Monday morning, parse through injuries, sit through Sunday, parse through injuries live and track everything down. We do that for you. If it saves you so much time on your weekend, it saves you time Monday morning, just take a look at our newsletter. Has all the injuries in the NFL. Super helpful. So anyways, if you're not doing that, make sure you do that. Head over to thehammer.bet and you can find the newsletter there. Let's bring on Corbie. He's part of Better Odds. He's a college football fan. He was just at the gym this morning. Corbie, you're looking nice and strong. How's it going?
Nice, strong, and red. They did fix the red though.
Okay, good.
It's not too bad. I can hear myself, by the way. I don't know if this is an issue, but
no, you're good for us. That might be an issue on our. You sound fine to us, and I think the chat is saying cool. You sound fine as well. All right, let's get into things though. Been a great, very fun college football week. Like I mentioned off the top of the show, preseason 1 and 2, Penn State, Texas. They're now out of the top 25. A lot of people are down on them. I mean, what a fall we've seen. Fall from grace for these teams. Penn State obviously loses to 0-4 UCLA. Texas gets embarrassed to one of the most already embarrassing teams in Florida, but now they seem to be getting their swagger back a little bit, so it's a little interesting here. So I saw you tweeted about Penn State. You were like, after this week, I think you brought them down almost a full touchdown in market. Give me your adjustments for. I know you just said Penn State, but give me your adjustment for both these teams, and what do you expect to be adjusting on moving forward for them?
Yeah, I moved. Oh, this is gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna take these out while.
Yeah, you're good.
I moved Penn State basically a touchdown, which if you look at just if you talk, I'm not gonna or just wait till I can see you. But I moved Penn State down a touchdown, which in theory probably is too much. Like if you just use neutrals versus UCLA or versus Northwestern this week. Oregon closed I think 24 neutral, and this would be 22. So do we think Oregon's a 2-point favorite versus Penn State right now? Probably bigger, but kind of where I'm at. It was an awful game. I went back and watched. I was actually in Tuscaloosa to watch the Bama game, so I just kept seeing the score pop up, and I was like, dude, there's no way. I think I talked about it last Monday, but I bet Penn State minus 24. So felt pretty stupid there. Good thing is outrights lose just as much as if they didn't cover the 24, so not too worried. The Texas one I'm not as worried about. I think Florida's a decent team. I know the shout out to the college football show today. They had LSU win the national championship after week 1, and Florida shut that team down to 9 first downs. So I don't think this Florida team's that bad. I look less on that. We did talk about this last week. I didn't think Arch Manning had his swagger back in the first place, but overall, I don't worry that much about that one. Penn State is a real issue. In theory, I'm supposed to bet them again this week, and I would feel really dumb to bet the same team twice.
Yeah, fair enough. And then also, you talked about Arch Manning. Don't really know if he has his swagger back per se. I guess he doesn't have his swagger back at all. Right now, Oklahoma's going into Texas right now. Texas 2.5-point favorites, which, I mean, here's the problem I have. Last week, I see Texas only laying 4.5 going into Florida, and I'm like, this is wrong. Texas is a way better team than this, right? Nope, wrong. I was completely wrong about that. Anyways, now I'm looking at this line, Oklahoma at Texas. I'm like, how can Texas be laying 2.5 to Oklahoma? I know that John Mater's out, but are they getting too much respect? And also, when is the tipping point for Arch Manning? When do you think he'll get benched if he ever does?
Yeah, it's one of those funny things where every starting quarterback is always the worst quarterback. No one wants your starting quarterback. Last year it was when you were an NFL quarterback, maybe kind of, and everyone was like, we need Arch, and it was, of course, it's the Manning name. But I've seen people saying now Arch is our starting quarterback. We're rooting for QB2, and it's like, dude, inevitably you're never going to be happy with your quarterback. It's just kind of the nature of the beast, unless it is the one-off, spin-off. I would be curious if John Mateer's out. That would be the first thing. I know that there was a timeline that had him back potentially this week, and knowing him, if you've ever watched his college roller coaster, this is the kind of game that he would play her to play. It's just the kind of guy he is. Also, remember, Oklahoma has a 5-star dual threat quarterback back. I think he was the number 2 dual threat quarterback in the nation when he was there. I cannot think of his name off the top of my head, but Oklahoma's a good team. I was just pulling up my number. I would agree with you slightly, probably less than you think.
Okay.
It looks like I make Texas a 0.5 favorite. So I would agree that this team's a little much, but inevitably I think Oklahoma's their defense is amazing. It's one of the better defenses I've seen all year. So I don't care what they did at Kent State. I haven't even actually looked at that mark score. I don't care. But they do have a viable QB2, I would say.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And I think that's I think part of the reason why maybe they're a little higher, or market is a little higher on this Texas team. Maybe doubting the QB2 there for Oklahoma. I think from last thing I saw, I don't think John Mateer is going to play, but if he does, obviously I'm sure we're going to see a massive shift here in the line. Let's talk a little bit about Northwestern Penn State, because we talked about Penn State last week when we were breaking down the playoffs. Are they done? Are they're for sure out?
Yeah.
Or you think so? They're completely out.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to do some amazing work to be back in this playoff. I think they're out. I moved them, so we talked about me moving them. Let's see where I have them now. Obviously, power ratings isn't the most important metric in the world, but I'm at 19th now. So there's a lot of teams out there about them. Going into last week, we talked about this. I had them on my it was a hot shot of my list. I talked about I didn't want to be the most normal list possible, but I still thought inevitably you lose to an Oregon team at home. It stinks, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Now there are many teams better than Penn State.
Okay, all right. I think I'm in agreement with you there. It would be an absolute miracle if they do end up running the table and somehow make it, but I don't think it's going to happen. So we don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Does that mean James Franklin is like cooked? Like, is he done now? Like, are we? Is he on the hot seat? Do we think he gets fired at the end of the year? What's happening there with him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a tough one. Also, I think I fixed my mic. I think it was on me. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. I can't hear you, but we'll figure that out. This is definitely me. Yeah, the tough part about James Franklin is, like, if you're a Penn State fan, if you're a Penn State anything, like, are you upset with how your seasons have went for the last X amount of years? Like, they've been an elite team. It's like one of those things where, like, maybe you hold yourself to a pedigree that's like, we need a national championship or bust. And then it's like, yes, do we think James Franklin is going to get you there? Probably not. But, like, go look at the resume. It's kind of like what Gonzaga has done in basketball the last 20 years. It's like people are like, Gonzaga always is a fluke. And I'm like, they make the Sweet 16 every single year. Like, if you could make the Sweet 16 every year, you'd be happy with it. So it's a tough spot. It's one of those things where, like, it would be easier to fire him if they were worse. They're going to have to make the decision, is this a national championship caliber team, or are they happy being the Gonzaga of college football?
All right, that's fair. Speaking of, like, one good, one respected, well-respected, widely respected head coach to another who might not be respected anymore. UNC and Bill Belichick. I mean, this UNC team is atrocious, and I think Bill is just officially cooked. They get bullied kind of every time they've faced a Power 4 team. Now just 3 losses against the spread against the 3 Power 4 teams that they faced. It looks like Bill is either done or he's not fit to coach at the college level in terms of, like, being able to like understand and maintain player relationships with these kids who are like 19, 20 years old. It's a lot different dealing with adults than dealing with these almost basically teenagers. Are we just, like, I don't want to say blindly fade the Tar Heels moving forward, but it feels like the market can't get the Tar Heels right against Power 4 teams. Then I know they have a bye this week, but coming out of the bye, we have Cal, they have Virginia, and they have Syracuse. Things are looking to go from bad to worse. Do you think that, like, do you think the market could be low enough on UNC? They have to be, like, the worst team in the Power 4, no? Like,
there was it was on College Game Day. It was kind of like my sentiment towards what North Carolina is. If you watched College Game Day this weekend, I was out there. I had the hard hat on, Jason. You would have loved it. I was trying to be my college kid, so I was having a good time. And they actually paged in Belichick, and I thought it was the sentiment that A, gives him kind of an out, but B, kind of tells, like, he's showing his cards face up. In the thing, they were like, what do you have to do to be better? And he's like, we got to work on fundamentals, the running, the passing, the catching, the defense, the offense. It's like, okay, well, first off, that's a bad start. And then secondly, instantly he was into talking recruiting. He was like, we haven't had a recruiting class in 2 years. I've never had my own recruits. Like we have no pieces. And, like, basically he was, like, hyping up these 2 receivers. But even while he was talking game day, he was talking like, next year is going to be great. The year after is going to be great. We have no pieces this year. We stink this year. And then, like, you could see recruits, like, walking through, and he was, like, shaking their hand while he was talking to College Game Day. And it's like, you play Clemson in 25 minutes. Like, I think that's kind of where this market sentiment is. Are they the worst in Power 4? Probably not. Does Bill Belichick know that they stink? Probably so. I bet the over in that game. And I needed a Carolina touchdown at the end of the game. So, hey, shout out Belichick. Always knows how they has respect the money. But, yeah, I mean, they look awful, and I think he knows they look awful. It's not like this. We have the talent. He very openly was like, we suck. Like, we need to learn how to pass the football. Like, that's a good fundamental to learn, certainly.
Yeah, and also when you say, like, you have to work on your fundamentals and work on your passing, running, defense, offense, everything, special teams, like, that's everything. What do you mean fundamentally? You have to work on everything. You just think. No, I'm not giving Bill a pass just yet because, like, the recruiting is also kind of on him. I know that he, like, it's like that's part of your job, and I think that's where people were worried about he might struggle coming into college football. Is that, like, it's just an extra element added on top of things where you can be as good of a head coach as you are, but, like, the talent acquisition part is pretty massive, and that might be one of his weaknesses in the future. So we'll see how next year looks. All right, flipping over, we talked Florida. I want to talk a little bit about Florida State. Pitt's playing Florida State this week. 2 tough losses for them back to back. Virginia in overtime. I don't think they'll get knocked too hard in terms of, like, the chances of them making the playoffs for losing to Virginia in overtime. And then they lost to Miami this weekend. Like what felt like it was a lot closer in that first half than the box score actually showed us. Just a couple unfortunate turnovers there for Florida State. If Florida State can run the table here, their schedule's a little bit easier. But if they do so, they'll be 10-2. And their only real marquee win would have been over Alabama, and then also over Florida, which is, over Florida depends on how good Florida looks because it's at the end of the year. But having those two as their only marquee wins, a 10-2 team, do you think that Florida State will have a shot to make the playoffs if they run the table?
It'll be tough. We talked about this last week. I have a bunch of Big Ten teams in. That Virginia loss is just, I think it's going to look worse as time goes on. Like, this is a Virginia team who in preseason, like, I think they opened up 6.5 regular season wins projection, and they closed like 5.5 just to the under. So like, this isn't a team we expect to do anything. It was a double overtime loss. It was a fun game. I get it. That would be really the only worry. Like, what team do you put in? A 2-loss Utah or a 2-loss Florida State? And me personally, I would probably put in Florida State, so I would agree with you there. Inevitably, like, God, that Virginia game is going to come back to haunt them. I think that's one of those games you just have to win. So they look good. I mean, they put up 400 yards versus a Miami offense who everybody puts on this pedestal of, like, the best offense in the nation. I have Carson Beck futures, and I still just don't agree with people there. I have Miami. This is probably the thing you'll find the most interesting, Jason. I have Miami 6th in the nation. Like, this is a team who a lot of people are like, one, like, they are the best. And I'm the guy with Carson Beck 30-1 futures. Like, I should agree with you more than anybody. And every time I watch, people are like, this defense is like just some all empowering defense. I have the defense 19th in the nation, which is probably a bit dramatic, but we just saw, like, they barely covered spread, and in a game that, like, they could have just, like, easily taken away. This is a game that was scripted for them to just kind of, even though they didn't win the yardage, kind of take this away, and they still let Florida State come back. I think there's a lot of pieces that are struggling on the defensive end of Miami. Like, example, Castellanos, if you've watched him over the years, he doesn't want to throw 45 passes. It's not the Malzahn, it's not the Castellanos script, but it's kind of how that game played out, and they were still able to be successful with it. So even when a team is doing what they don't want to do, Miami can't stop them, and that's just not a good look to me.
Yeah, it's tough for Miami there, and I think I agree with you. Also, like, out the gate, like I mentioned it right before I asked you about this, but yeah, like this, I thought this game was gonna be a lot closer at the end of the. Obviously, Florida State came back late they almost covered late with those 3 scores in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I thought out the gate, Florida State looked better than Miami, but then Miami kind of got whatever they wanted on some deep shots that kind of swung the game. But yeah, you're right. This Miami defense might be, don't want to call them fraud watch, but they might be on fraud watch.
Yeah, and then the big issue you run into is, like, what happens when Miami faces a viable defensive backfield. Like, they're just more talented offensively than every team that they've played so far, and that's because their wide receivers are, like, unbelievable. Carson Beck, of course, is making the right decisions. Talked about this in the preseason. I think Carson Beck's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the nation. That's why I bet his Heisman futures. So he's easy reads, easy receptions, and then he just has, like, 10 out of 10 talent. But, like, what happens when you face an Oregon team who has cornerbacks who can stay stride for stride with your receivers? It makes this game a lot harder. So I would be curious where they match up. I'm at 6. That's probably being a little mean. What can I say? But I'm going to be at 6, and I think that's where Miami should be.
All right. We talked about the teams that you downgraded in Penn State and how you had them almost a touchdown. Is there any team after this week that you upgraded, or a team that you upgraded the most off this past week? Anyone in particular, or any team over the past couple weeks that you've just been like, I can't be higher on them than I am right now, but I just got to keep pushing them up?
Yeah, I would say just because it's the one most in, like, the top of the metrics, and it surprised me a ton. Alabama, I have at number 3 in the nation right now. I was in Tuscaloosa watching the game, and I was like, man, this team kind of sucks. Like, I did not expect to get home and see my number be like, hey, they deserve to win that game by more than they did. I saw a team who, like, pretty cautiously ran the ball for, like, an entire series a few times, and then they were like, oh, that's not going to work. Let's throw the ball 20 times in a row. I think they have all the talent in the world. Their defensive line stinks. Their offensive scripts just aren't good. And yet, with all of that, Ty Simpson's still throwing for like 350 yards. Jam Miller's still getting 100 yards. They're still winning the tough games. Like, it feels like they are doing everything wrong, and yet they're still covering the spread, which they should not have covered that spread, but they still cover the spread. Ty Simpson's still playing well. I think this is all an offensive game planning thing. They have to get that script better. I thought it was miserable. I could be the only one who thinks that, and that's fine. I'll be on an island by myself. I think their offensive coordinator is not good, and yet they continue to perform well. So if they can figure out the coaching side of this, I think they are one of the most talented teams in the nation. I'll put them at number 3, 2 spots above Miami, which would be a super hot take in most markets.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a hot take. You mentioned that you were at the game in Tuscaloosa. Do you have any photos for us? You in the hard hat? Anything I can find? You got to send it to me, tweet it out, so we can bring it up.
I got you.
We can bring it up on the show next week. Any last thoughts coming out of Week 6? Any big takeaways that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, we'll go back to the takeaway I had. What was this, like 4 weeks ago at this point? Let's see the odds we can get on FanDuel of your national champion being the favorite, Ohio State Buckeyes. Listen, there's a lot of shows around here they'll flip their opinions. They'll say, maybe we were wrong about that team. We watched LSU beat Clemson. Maybe we bought too fast and they're not good. Not your boy. This is an issue I have, Jason. When I make a commitment, I'm committed. Ohio State national champs. I think we talked about it 6-1 on the show. I'm still committed to that bid. Nice fall flop. We saw that. And then the other one would just be non-football related. I talked about this all year, and if you know me, Jason, you know the Dodgers, not national champs, World Series. Tyler Glasnow's my guy, so I've been dialed into some baseball for the last few weeks. It's been an enjoyable time.
All right. Well, I don't know if your Dodgers will make it as far as our Blue Jays will after we sweep the Yankees, but
okay.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah, Ohio State right now 4-1 to win the national championship. It's wicked down a little bit since we talked about it 4 weeks ago, but again, like I think we talked about it last week. They're the best team in the country. They have the best talent. They nothing's changed from them from last year to this year. They've had a great recruiting class, like very little turnover. It's theirs to lose. It's theirs to lose at this point.
And a quarterback who is only going to get better over sample size. Like, remember, this guy hasn't been in the moment, like, basically at all in his college career. So now at this point, like, he's going to be able to see Michigan. He's going to be able to see the Big Ten title game. Like, he's going to be able to see all of these moments where are just going to help his resume heading into the playoffs. So Ohio State, unbelievably talented. I hate to say it. I'm a kid that's born 20 minutes from Tuscaloosa. I do not want Ohio State to be the best team in the nation, but I think inevitably that's where we're at here.
Sometimes we just got to be honest with ourselves. Corbie, I appreciate you joining the show today. You can follow him on Twitter at CorbieBO. We will talk soon, Corbie. See ya.
All right, boys.
Have a good one. All right. Apparently, let me just see this if this is right. If the chat, if you're lying to me about McDavid signing, I'm going to be so pissed because you're derailing the show right now. But yeah, make sure you go follow Corbie on Twitter at CorbieBO. Always a good time. Yeah, McDavid's extending. All right. Well, there goes my hopes and dreams of him signing in Toronto. Flup's up next. We're going to talk some football, and I hate giving Flup credit. I hate giving him credit because you know what? He's been cooking on this future show. The Steelers futures look good. Made fun of him for the Cowboys futures after week 1. They look good. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Before we do, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel because FanDuel is changing the way you live bet football, and it starts with the next drive. SGPs. Now you can bet what's happening on the next drive. Will it end in a touchdown? Will it end in a punt? A field goal? Then you can stack in player props like rushing yards to catch a pass or someone to find the end zone. Build your bet exactly how you'd want it. FanDuel's enhanced quick betting experience makes it easy to find live bets fast, build same-game parlays in real time, and see the player stats that you need. And every NFL game comes with a profit boost you can use on your next drive SGP, so you can get more out of every single play, whether you're betting a drive, a player, or the next big moment, or even a punt parlay. FanDuel makes live betting feel smarter, faster, and way more fun. Visit FanDuel.com/forward progress to download the app today and bet the next drive your way. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas and affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC. 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issues not withdrawable profit boost token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/shine in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. All right. Up next, we have a one-time contest winner, 0-time Grandissimo winner officially this year, and you've seen him on Circle Back on the Friday show as a regular. Floop, how's it going?
Good. Yes, unfortunately, that is correct. I just busted out with the Rams. I'm a little disappointed because my second choice would have been the Colts, which if I had picked them, would have been really good. But it's all good. I still have 14 entries in the regular Survivor, which is 13 more than I need to go back to back. But yeah, overall, I'll definitely do Grandissimo next year. It was very fun. I enjoyed it. And I'm excited to cook in on these futures. What have I really not, other than I did give out the Jets over 5.5 wins, which I don't know if they'll get even 3 wins this season at this point. But what have I not done well so far?
Honestly, the Cowboys one looked horrible after week 1, but I got to give you credit. That division doesn't look as good anymore. I believe it was them to win the conference though. But you've got
no. I think the Cowboys to win a division as well.
Okay, fair. Then those are good prices as well. You had Steelers to win the conference. You've got some good numbers on the Chargers. Your worst bet might have been the one you placed last week on Kansas City to miss the playoffs, because their offense kind of looked more revived but I guess
certainly. But we'll see tonight. I mean, look, Jags. Hopefully the Jags can win, or at least cover. You know what they say: good teams win, great teams cover. So hopefully we can get some good spots there. But I think the biggest thing is, I think the Herbert MVP case is now already evaporating it right before our eyes, because it's a little crazy. He hasn't looked as good as, he hasn't looked bad, but he hasn't looked as dominant as he would have worked for his 3 weeks. Yeah,
no, you're right. And I actually wrote down in my notes here as Joe Alt, the real MVP question mark, because obviously it's not just Joe Alt, but they've had incredibly, I don't know if you're aware of this, they've had some incredibly terrible offensive line injuries. I know you don't really keep up to date with these injuries here, but yes. But yeah,
I just want to say, I just read the comments. I got to address something. I've been up for over 2 hours. I walked my dog this morning. He got a nice walk. I'm rested and recharged and ready to fight for the day.
I like that you're ready for the fight for the day. I appreciate you not waking up 5 minutes before the show, but hey, I think it's hilarious either way. You look good though. You're still looking like Tom Cruise and George Clooney had a baby. But
appreciate that.
Anyways, we talked about your 2 bets you made last week, KT, to miss the playoffs at plus 320. We're hoping we can get some market movement in your favor after KC loses tonight. That's what we're hoping for. And then we talked about the Chargers, 16-1 to win the Super Bowl. I don't want to say we're overexposed on the Chargers now, but I feel like we got some good numbers, and hopefully when their offensive line gets healthy, they'll look as good as they did at the beginning of the season. My question to you is about the Ravens, because we also had the Ravens to miss the playoffs, plus 310. Last week, talk to me a little bit about this Ravens-Houston Texans line movement, because it felt like it couldn't get – it never got far enough. The Ravens at close were essentially being rated as the 22nd team in market at their current state, but it's very clear they are 30, 31, 32, maybe 32 and a lot lower than people expect. But yeah, what were your thoughts?
I think we see look what happened with this Ravens line. Rams open at a touchdown favorite and then just take straight money. The Ravens looked abysmal. I think what people were kind of scared to say, is Lamar truly worth 8+ points, maybe even 10 points? And the thing is, I think what people are forgetting is also, hey, there's also a bunch of defensive injuries. I know I'm not going to go out here and list them. I'm probably going to butcher some, but there's been plenty of injuries on the defensive side. And plus, Lamar is probably just straight up worth 8+ points. I have him rated in the future sim I run as worth exactly 8. I've heard some people say he's worth more than that, which I'm not going to dispute that. And I think we're seeing it in the market, and they just don't have a lot of equity while Lamar is out to win any games. And they're already 1-4. This season is slipping away fast. They don't win next week. They're 1-5. If they don't win out, they might 10-7 might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So So then that tells him that and Lamar might miss two more games rather. So like if he misses two more games, they might be 1-6. And it's like, okay, this is not looking too good.
Yeah, they're in a very tough scenario here. 1-4 right now, and then like we said, we play the Rams next week. Play a great quarterback in Caleb Williams the week after. Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets. That's like their easy stretch, and that's when Lamar is coming back. But yeah, I think a lot's going to be riding on this. Even if they do win out, there's going to be so much riding on this. I'm circling like the Week 18 game, Ravens at Steelers. That's going to be massive for the division if things play out as we expect, and in the best case scenario for the Ravens where they do run the table and the Steelers continue to look good, that might decide the division there. So got that one circled. But yeah, like this Ravens team, I think you're right a little bit about Lamar, and also you just like rising tide raises all ships. It's like we could see all these players play better when Lamar's in, because he's a great quarterback. My question is, if they do run the table, if they do end up winning the division, what would be your, like, if I were to tell you, if I were to tell you that the Ravens do end up winning the division, they ran the table, I have a time machine, I have the sports almanac, but you can't bet Ravens to win the division. What would you be betting? Would it be Lamar Jackson MVP, Super Bowl?
Yeah. So Lamar Jackson MVP doesn't make a lot of sense to me, simply because at best case he's going to miss 2 games, and he might miss 3. He already lost a key game to Josh Allen, who's likely going to be the MVP favorite, and it's almost impossible for them to win the 1 seed at this point. Even if they run the table right now and go 13-4, that might not be enough with the Bills having the tiebreaker to win the 1 seed. And I just don't think they're going to give the MVP to Lamar, who lost to Josh, couldn't get the 1 seed, and didn't even play all 17 games. MVP award is about how much value added that year. Being injured is your fault. I mean, he didn't play those games. So I think Lamar is completely dead to win the MVP at this case, because he's not going to get the 1 seed. He's already missed games. He can't get injured again, or it's just truly out. He'd have to have the most incredible run, which I just don't see happening.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I just have to ask that there. Let's flip over and talk what you like for this week. Again, 2 weeks ago you had the Steelers. Love that call. It was a great call. I played some of it myself at plus 230 it was. You still like them at plus 130 to win their division.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of the time with these futures, it's just like I'm going to like the same stuff over and over again because I don't think the market is pricing the future scenario correctly. And it, like, 1 week is typically not going to change. It typically takes a couple weeks to come in. And at plus 130, I believe that's the best in market. I just don't see how you can price the Ravens as the favorite to win the division anymore. I certainly wouldn't. I think it's a bit ludicrous. They're 1-4. We don't know. First of all, Lamar might not be back for another 2 weeks. And if he is back, is he going to be fully healthy? Or is it going to be 75% Lamar, and then 80% Lamar, and then 90, and then 100 over the next couple of weeks, which is even more damning to them? Plus, what about their entire defensive roster? How many injuries are going to come back from that? Look, I'm not the guy to ask for that, but we don't know there. So to price them as a favorite at 1-4 when the Steelers already have a couple wins is just ludicrous to me. You have to have so much confidence that Lamar comes back after this week and that he's basically at full health, which I don't know we can be.
Yeah, and it's funny because this Pittsburgh Steelers team has also been getting, like, I don't want to say bad variance, but it's like we've I don't know what it is with them, but like they have the voodoo. They're always somehow on top of turnover margin and leading the league in forcing turnovers. They haven't forced too many turnovers this year. They're one of the lowest teams in forced turnovers. That stuff isn't sticky. That stuff is random. Maybe the randomness just finally caught up to them over the year. But if they're able to regress to like an average team as well, the Steelers team could be still a little bit undervalued, like you talked about here, plus 130 in market. And again, Bengals, Browns, they're dead to rights. They're out. Jake Browning can't do anything. The Browns just aren't a good enough team just yet to compete. So it's really just a 2-horse race. And the fact that the Ravens are still minus 105 on FanDuel, you're right. That's wrong. I agree with you. I love that look, Flop. I love that look. Another one you like, Commanders to win the division, plus 280 right now. Yeah. I was a little worried about how they were going to look this week. Jaden Daniels with that. I don't know if you saw that massive knee brace on him. I'm like, how the heck is this guy going to move, be mobile at all, do anything? But no, they look great. They won. Very easy win for them. So, I mean, Jaden Daniels just built different. So why do you like them at plus 280 here?
Yeah, I mean, just look at the market. I mean, I think they're plus 190 at DraftKings. This is wildly overvalued on FanDuel for some reason, which I don't understand at all. I wouldn't play this at plus 190, but I would play this at plus 280 on FanDuel. So absolutely love this price. Look, the Eagles do not look great. They've gotten a couple fluky wins. Hurts does not look like I was touting him as a top 10 quarterback this year, and he makes me look like an idiot. He does not look that good, and the entire team looks kind of fraudulent. Like, look, they still have a great defense. They still have like a great offensive line. They're going to win a bunch of games, but at plus 280 with the Commanders only being a one win behind the Eagles, I just don't see how they can be this big of an underdog to win the division. I would make it closer to plus. Let me see if I have my number here in front of me. I ran it this morning. I would make them, right around plus 180, and which is just like, I think extra significant value at plus 280. I'm very shocked that FanDuel is giving us this good of a deal. So I'm all over them beating Herbert's. Where like another thing you mentioned is like you're worried about, hey, is Jaden going to be fully healthy? Similar to how I'm worried about, is Lamar going to be fully healthy? Well, he looked good. He looked damn good. And last year, when he came back on injury, he had a couple weeks where he didn't look as good. But that was because he couldn't run. Because I think a lot of people grade Jaden on his throwing, which I don't think he's this elite like passer. But the fact that he can run is like what makes him so good. And the knee brace is scary, but he looks fine.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, like you mentioned there, the Jalen Hurts stuff makes you look stupid. I don't think you have to say anything. You just already look pretty stupid. I'm kidding, yep. Flup. I'm kidding. It's all love here. But yeah, I like that look there. I'm just shocked and I'm very annoyed with this Eagles team because I already know they're going to be using like some confirmation bias to be like, let's run the football more, because the one game where we start to throw the ball, that's the one where we end up losing, which is like horrible confirmation bias. I think there's a question in the chat here. Graham O'Brien asking if you show any value on Rams to win the division at plus 200. That just intuitively, that number feels a little low. I know we already have that great value on the Seahawks at plus 490 that like, oh, if only they won, would be looking so good right now. Rams plus 200. Do you like them quickly before I let you out here?
No, I do not like them at all. At plus 200. I make it close to like plus 250-ish fair. Yes, the 49ers are banged up, but they have a good record, and they could be coming back. I don't know what the situation of when Brock Purdy will be fully healthy, when their whole rest of the roster will be decently healthy. The Seahawks are still a viable threat. This isn't like a 2-horse race like it is with the Steelers and the Ravens. This is a 3-horse race with the Seahawks, Rams, and 49ers. So plus 200 is just not that attractive of a price to me. I'm not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, I still think they are the best team in the division, but I just don't think
I would agree with
but it's just not enough outs for us there. It's too low, too short.
I think if you really want to play something like Rams futures, you're better served to do like Stafford MVP or like Rams to win the conference.
Yeah, makes total sense there. Floop, I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you doing this. You can follow Flup on Twitter at Flup No Lied. And Flup, I hope, praying for some good Survivor luck for you next week. Even though we're going against each other, just sad to see you lose those Grandissimos. Appreciate you coming on. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.
All right, see you, Flup. All right, great stuff. Up next, Judah's going to be coming on the show. Before we get into Judah, though, live watch along tonight here on the Hammer Betting Network over on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. You're going to want to check it out because I will be on there. Rob will be on there. And I would think it's some of the best content we put out there. We do a lot of the work for you on the show. I was talking to a friend the other day. He's like, yeah, well, I always listen and watch these live watch-alongs because, like, you guys do the work for me. You tell me what to click, and I end up clicking, and usually it's a good price, good bet. If you're looking to just live bet, sweat, and have some fun with us too while we're at it, you're going to want to join us tonight for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars watch-along. Speaking of Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're going to bring up Judah right now. He works at PFF Betting. Find him on the Tuesday show here on Forward Progress. Shana Tova, my friend, how have you been?
Doing well. I know it's wonderful to see your face again. I feel like I'm the only person who can say that.
All right.
Yeah, it's quite the bit.
I love it. I kind of missed what you said there. I couldn't hear. What did you say? Play it back for me. I missed.
I was complimenting you, and then in the 30 seconds since, I've realized that was a terrible idea.
No, never. You should never do that. It gives me way too much. Don't pump my tires too much. Don't pump my. I already have the Sam Darnold tire pump. So
much so, I'm glad that the audio cut out, and you didn't get to hear.
Yeah,
it was good. It's perfect. It's poetic.
It's all good. I'm just gonna have to go back and listen to it. All right, let's get into this game though. KC, Jacksonville. Kansas City laying 3.5 on the road to Jacksonville. Slight juice towards Jacksonville there. Break down this game for me here. What do you like? We got recent news that Xavier Worthy might not play. Popped up his question on the injury report. Sounds like he probably will play. Injured ankle. Give me the story for this game. Give me the breakdown. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think like what it mainly comes down to is the Chiefs' offense is back. In my opinion, I don't know if they ever left, but Mahomes has certainly been terrific. And I think when you look at this Chiefs team with Worthy healthy, I think it obviously makes a big difference. Like, this is going to be one of the best passing offenses in the NFL. They can't run the football. They're not even going to try, I don't think. And that's fine. Like, they're blessed with a quarterback in Mahomes who, you can let drop him back 40 times, and it's not the worst thing that will happen to your offense. The Jaguars' defense, I think, is just ridiculously overrated. I mean, their EPA numbers are terrific, of course. I think from like a pass game perspective, only the Vikings have been better, at least entering this week. But if you kind of look at the yard per attempt type numbers, they're kind of middle of the pack. They have just forced a ton of turnovers. I think this is an extremely beatable defense, and one that I think the Chiefs will kind of have no problem with. And then, like, the offense has been kind of meh. I think if the Jaguars are going to win this game, it's going to be on the backs of just like very, very successful running game. Kansas City has, long struggled to stop the run, and that has continued this season. They're bottom 5 in most rush metrics, and they're probably going to have to keep away from Mahomes. But that's not exactly the strategy I think that you need to win in a modern NFL. And like, Trevor Lawrence's passing prop is at like 219 for a reason. And I don't think it's because it's a dominant Chiefs pass defense. I think it's very much a function of what the Jaguars have been unable to do on offense this year. And they have not really gotten Brian Thomas going. And I think this is kind of a very overrated Jacksonville team, all in all, and a Kansas City team that I'm right back on to as one of the best in the AFC.
I love how perfectly we aligned we are on this Jacksonville team, because I'm not impressed with them. Oh, not the boy. I'm not impressed with them at all.
That's a terrible sign.
Oh, God. You know what? A broken clock is right twice a day. I was right about the Seahawks this year. Hopefully I can be right about these Jaguars team not being very good. But I mean,
whoa. Right about teams
Seahawks
5 weeks in?
Okay, well, okay.
You're going to tell me that the Bears last year, who are at a similar record, you've been right about them? We've got a long season ahead of us. Let's pump the brakes.
All right, I won't victory lap that then. But I agree with you in terms of the Jaguars just being very, very, very overrated. I think like you said, the defensive turnovers is just like 13 turnovers in 4 games. It's like that's something that's not going to be sticky. That's going to stick around. And I don't think that Trevor Lawrence has looked as good to start the year as people are making him out to be. It feels like they've been struggling to put up points. Anyways, you talked about Trevor Lawrence in the passing game and his passing yards. Is there any props that you're looking at for this game that you like in particular? Is that could it be like are you looking at some unders on Trevor Lawrence like you mentioned there? You're looking in the running game. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, the number's pretty low, and I think that you can even get there in garbage time. So I'm not dying to bet the 219 on FanDuel. But I don't hate, and certainly obviously in parlays, there's a different story. I don't hate the ETN 64 rush yards. I think that he's going to get a bunch of work here. Kansas City is perfectly fine to allow 4 or 5 yards to carry. That's kind of been their defensive strategy under Spagnuolo for years. Don't hate that. But it's not a game I'm going to be heavy prop on.
Okay, not that heavy of a prop game. ETN feels a little high at 64.5. Question to you about like this kind of glut of a mess that is the running back situation for the Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen Pacheco, Hunt, and now Brashard Smith sort of split time. Their run game has been terrible. Is there anyone out of the three that you like the most or would like take a swing at to score a touchdown if I had to force
Nasty
you?
backfield.
Like what if you
nasty backfield.
If I had to force you to take one of them to score a touchdown, who would it be and why?
Ooh. I mean, probably Hunt. Just as the guy who's like been getting the short yardage carries, and like Kansas City can end up there. They like him there, but these are all. I mean, you'd actually see it before I'm ready to excitedly bet on this backfield. But yeah, Hunt just because of roll, and like you can stumble into the end zone. I mean, we just saw Ramondre Stevenson, Mr. Fumble. As my wife watching the game with me was like, "Is that the guy who always fumbles? Is this the guy who always fumbles?" And we had some bets on the Patriots, so she did not want him touching the ball. But hey, he scored 2 touchdowns, right? Like anyone can fall into the end zone if their coach decides they've got the role for it.
Get someone who trusts you as much as Mike Vrabel trusts Ramondre Stevenson, even though he's let him down time after time after time. But hey, you know what? Like you said, he does end up scoring touchdowns. You gave me your story for this Kansas City-Jacksonville game. You said you think Jacksonville's overrated. You're back in on the Kansas City offense. So let's build it out. Let's build out this story for your parlay. What do you got for an SGP here for this Monday Night Football game?
I mean, look, we can play this a couple angles. We can, one, say, like, let's play the fact that Xavier Worthy's on the injury report. And, Tyquan Thornton, I think, going to get some more snaps if Worthy's out, take some alts there. We can go that direction. But I don't think that's necessarily so much in the spirit here. I think we can go with just kind of a regular, this is an overrated Jaguars defense. The Chiefs are going to throw the ball. We know that. They're not running the ball a lot. Take a Chiefs spread, say Mahomes 300, and then kind of like we talked about, I think the ETN overs are good. I think he's relatively explosive, and this is a Jaguars team that's, I think, going to run a whole bunch. Take the kind of ETN overs, Lawrence unders. We'll play the Kansas City throws a lot of kind of shorter completions, dominates field control. You get those 4. That is Chiefs minus 3.5, ETN over 64.5 rush, Lawrence under 219, Mahomes 300. Get that about 24.5 to 1.
Yeah, I have that 24 to 1 over on FanDuel. Mahomes 300 plus passing yards, Chiefs minus 3.5, Trevor Lawrence under 219.5 passing yards, ETN over 64.5. You can play that at FanDuel again, 24 to 1 if you're interested. Judah, I force you to talk about the running back room for the Chiefs. I got a question for you because I'm going to force you to take 2 anytime touchdown scorers for each team. Who would you pick at why at current odds? Is there anyone sticking out to you? I don't know if you have the board pulled up in front of you, but you can just ask.
I got the board pulled up.
Yeah, let's who you like.
The boys need a nice long shot here. Trevor Lawrence plus 600.
Okay.
We haven't gotten into that short yard sneak situation, but I think it's coming. And I think that's an angle the Jaguars are going to take this year. Give me a Lawrence plus 600. And then, I'll roll with our guy Kareem Hunt. He's going to get those backfield, 4-yard dive on first and goal from the 4 after a Tyquan Thornton deep bomb. If that happens, I expect that to be clipped and just like posted on Hammer Betting Maine.
Done. If that happens, that'll be clipped. That'll be done. Trevor Lawrence. I like Trevor Lawrence look. Listen, he's always willing to like eject and scramble, especially if they get close to the goal line. I'm gonna go somewhere different. You can rate mine out of 10 if you'd like. I want to take Brashard Smith at +4. Let me give a reason first. This guy's just jumping the gun. +480.
I went before you even gave the pick. It was an automatic 2. Fine, go ahead.
All right. Brashard Smith +480. I think they're going to give him some more run. Like we've talked about, this running room is just atrocious. They have no look. Pacheco looks terrible. Kareem Hunt is like way over the hill. He's probably not going to get the short yardage situation, but against a Jacksonville team that I think is defense that is slightly overrated. Going to hope that he can maybe squeak like a 10, 15-yard pass into the end zone. And like you said, I think this Kansas City team is going to be passing a ton. And I think they value him the most of all their running backs in the passing game. So I'm going to take a swing on the rookie, Rashard Smith, plus 480. And then on the Jacksonville Jaguars side, I'm going to take a swing on Parker Washington. He's been on the field a lot. Simple as that. I don't know what else there is to say other than he's going to be on the field and plus 430. You have guys like De'Ami Brown, Brendan Strange ahead of him. I think he's just going to play more. Maybe De'Ami Brown's going to slide in, take his spot, but yeah, those are my two looks. Give me the ratings.
I will give you a 6 on Smith only because there are no other available props. Otherwise, just terrible read. He's going to get a lot of run. You're obviously betting his all the rushing yards, but I will give you a pass just because I'm taking the theme of it less so than the actual selection. Parker Washington, yeah, he's getting some targets. He's not just on the field. He's getting some looks, and he's getting some looks in the red zone. I hate to say I don't hate it. I'll give that one a 7.
That is the nicest you've been to me in a very long time, Judah. I appreciate that. Are you in Survivor by any chance?
I came onto the show and complimented you.
Yeah, but you instantly...
Is your short-term memory that bad?
Yeah, it's not the best. One too many concussions from high school. But are you in Survivor, or you're not a Survivor guy?
I didn't play. Play.
All right. How's it like? How is it like as someone who doesn't play Survivor watching the carnage from afar? Did you kind of get some Schadenfreude out of it, or?
No, I feel like if I haven't entered the stake, who am I to comment? I've got no skin in the game here. But yeah, it was kind of. I mean, in some ways, I can understand the tilt of losing the Arizona bet, But Rams, it's just super popular. That was in the carts. We've seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't feel any Schadenfreude though. I don't feel any I've got no skin in the game. I've never played Survivor, so I can't really know. But maybe I should just to kind of match Mr. Floop, so I could try and be a one-time contest winner.
The equity you get out of being a contest winner is crazy. We've seen people basically fraud their way into an entire career by being contest winners. And I'm not talking about Flup here. I'm talking about some other guys who are down 83 units on the year. Anyways, Judah, I appreciate you coming on today. Yeah, well, you know what? He throws shots at us. I'm going to throw shots right back at him. So anyways, Judah, appreciate you coming on.
No smiling.
No smiling. No smiling. You can follow Judah on Twitter at @throwthedamnball. Judah, we'll talk soon. Appreciate you coming on.
Brother.
All right, see you, man. Great stuff there from Judah. Reminder, the SGP is KC minus 3.5. If you're looking to get down on it, KC minus 3.5. We're going to go Patrick Mahomes, 300-plus passing yards. Trevor Lawrence under 219.5 passing yards. And then Travis Etienne over 64.5 rushing yards. Put that all together. 24-1. And, yeah, that's it. Let us know your thoughts on that in the chat. Charles, are you kidding? Are you messing with me here?
No, it's confirmed.
Wow. All right. So, breaking news. Connor McDavid signs a 2-year, $12.5 million deal. And instant reaction for that is, well, I don't even know what to say. I wasn't one of those people who was lulling themselves into thinking that he was going to sign with the Leafs. I doubt that. But yeah, Italian Mamba saying Kawhi and McDavid planning trees together. I don't think that's what it is. I think he's just kind of willing to take a 2-year deal, go to free agency right when Matthews goes to free agency. It seems like a calculated thing from agents, knowing that the salary cap is probably going to increase very, very large amount here. So, yeah, good, tidy work for the Oilers there. Bad for McDavid's agent. But if McDavid was willing to take that and sign that, it obviously was. I don't know how much the agent could have done there, but wow, good for the Oilers. Good for the Oilers. Little annoyed by that, but it is what it is.
We'll try again in 2027.
Yeah. Well, hey, if we lose Matthews, then hopefully we can get McDavid if that's the case. But
yes,
yeah, that's going to be a fun free agency class 2 years from now. Very, very fun. Very, very fun. Anyways, wraps up the show here today. Do us a favor. Smash the like button. If everyone watching right now, if half the people watching right now press the like button, we would have triple the amount of likes we currently have. So if you haven't smashed the like button already, it goes a long way for us here on the channel. Please do so as well. I thought it was a good show today. It was the Young Buck crew. That's what I call it. Unk Pizzola is probably mad at us young bucks thriving in this element. Unk Fezzik was definitely pissed. Too many smiles, too much laughing. It is what it is.
Unk Pizzola's getting ready for Circle Back.
Yeah. Up next on the Hammer, we have, what do we have here? Circle Back is live at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then at 5 p.m., Hit the Books is going to be live. I'm going to be on that as well. Maybe I'll chime in. We have a big game. Me versus Kanish this week. USC, Michigan. USC off the bye. Hopefully we can work our magic after a bad loss last week. But anyways, or 2 weeks ago. And then finally Forward Progress, like I mentioned earlier, in the show. We have our live watch along, which you're going to want to tune into. Because listen, we do all the work for you, and it's a lot of fun to tune in as well. Coming up for tomorrow, we got a very, very stacked show for you. It's going to be a little bit of a different structure here. We've got a lot more guests coming on. It's going to be an NHL opening night show. The Tuesday, Wednesdays, there's no sports, but guess what? NHL is back tomorrow. So there's going to be sports on the week on these weekdays now. So Michael Lieboff is going to lead off the show. We got Greg Wyszynski coming on. So many sports who everyone loves. Dom the Decision comes on, and then Alex Moretto will close things out. That's 5 guests, 5 loaded show talking NHL. I see the Gooners in the chat talking about edge work. Yes, it's like a replay of edge work. Anyways, last time I asked before we head out here, do us a favor, smash that like button. The likes went down since I asked. What the heck's going on? You really don't like me that much, eh? All right, whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been the Monday, October 6th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys right here tomorrow at noon.